All right, welcome to CuePoints, the mobile DJ podcast. We are back for episode number 3.
Yes, we are.
I am Anthony Garcia. Alongside me is co-host William Bruner.
You know it's actually Brunner? Did you know that?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. You know, I was gonna.
I say it wrong every time.
Yeah, so you're not the only person, just so you know. But I was gonna correct you
Brunner?
on the first show. I was going to, and I felt bad. So now we're on 3 in.
Correct me, Dave.
So yeah, so it's actually Brunner.
Okay.
But yeah, so hi.
Mental note. I got it.
Just so you know, you're fine. But yeah,
Okay.
dude, I'm so happy we're back.
Me too.
I can't believe how fast March is going, man. It's like bing bang. We're gonna be, the
crazy.
season's, the season's really starting now. It's right around the corner. Communions are right around the corner, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's wedding season, and then
And then we're all busy and
it's gonna be crazy. So, and this has already been such a fun ride. So,
it has.
how's everything? Good?
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Everything's going good.
All right, very well.
Keeping busy.
So what are we talking about today? What makes us? Why are we here?
Today, I kind of want to talk about preparing for a gig.
Ooh. You mean? So I just want to clarify. You mean the thing that a lot of clients don't really know about? They think we just work 4 hours and we're done, or 5 hours and we're done. So yeah, no, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing that comes to your head when you think of I have to prepare for a gig?
I absolutely just want to make sure I have all the equipment that I need.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly do just the DJing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not much of an MC. So,
I got to bring most of the crap.
Right. So having the music
Mm-hmm.
in check, having all my crates, that's
Yep.
so important.
Organization's key for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I spend a lot of time on organizing the crates. Most of the time I do it the morning of the gig,
okay.
but if I feel like I need more time.
But you don't leave your house without it done.
No way.
Yeah.
No
okay.
way. Then I'm unprepared.
Right. Exactly. And then and my biggest thing
if
is
something happens right before the event,
Yep.
I'm screwed basically.
Yeah, and I always find it that the more stuff you leave to the last minute, the more stress you're going to make yourself that day.
Yeah.
And, preparedness goes hand in hand with, arrival time. Why is it some people would rather get there, let's say 45 minutes before it starts. So they're home for maybe 20 more minutes, rather than getting there at a sufficient amount of time, depending on how much stuff you have. You have a basic DJ, and also, another thing, there's so much to, oh my gosh, I can't even, where should we start when it comes to preparedness? Like, I guess we should start away from the venue. Like, you're doing the music, you get your speakers
we should
ready.
Start big and work our way in. So I was going to say let's start with equipment, like the speakers.
Yeah. Do you make a list or
all
something
that.
like that? Do you make like a checklist or anything?
I make a mental checklist.
Ooh, okay. So I used to do that, but the thing is it's no longer obviously just me. I have a lot of guys in the warehouse and stuff like that. So actually what I did was, and I know I introduced you to Google Docs.
I love it.
We're
using it right now.
Yeah, we're
actually.
literally using it right now. I use it for I make a checklist, and everything that's needed for the event is on there, in a straight line. And then there's a second checklist on the other side, and that one has when they pack up. Because unfortunately, and people are human, and people make mistakes, I had stuff go missing. I've lost GoPros. I've more stuff
you
than I
leave
could.
things at the venue, and
yeah,
then,
on
and
accident
then it
you
walks.
forget. Yeah, you forget a folding table. Something like that, and it's a shame because there's no reason for it. So we just you have to make sure that you make those checklists. And when you have a lot of equipment, when we're bringing trussing out and TVs and GoPros and all this stuff, you have to make a list.
Exactly.
And also,
that's why it's important when you have a specific, like a package or a setup that you have to use for that event. A checklist is necessary because, say, you're using the truss with the TVs.
Yeah.
If you don't have
The
everything that
brackets,
you need
yeah.
for that in one place, like in one bag, which
Right.
I highly recommend. What if you forget something at home?
Right. Yeah, you're 100%. I literally have a bag for everything, and
I love that you do that.
yeah, I literally have. There's a bag for HDMI's. There's a bag for mounting pieces. There literally a bag for just power cords. I'd rather bring in 10 bags than bring because when I first started, I had one giant tool bag by Husky, and everything was in there. It's cool because it's on wheels and it holds everything. But the problem is I need an extension cord. I'm digging through all this stuff just to find one wire. So I have everything different. And shout out to Husky, man. Because, I mean, I know you use my bags.
I love those bags.
Like, I get these red Husky bags.
They're sturdy.
I put permanent marker on them for exactly what they are. And, sometimes it can be a little bit of a hassle because if I'm in the truck and I'm looking for one bag specifically and I have 30 of them, it's hard.
You're like,
but that's why I try to write.
Scrambling through all
that's why I try to write exactly what they are.
But no, that's a great system, and I highly recommend them.
By the way, you're trying to get me fat.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with these cookies, man. They keep coming back.
You don't know. You walk in with them, you're like, I got cookies. Like, what do you mean? You don't know. You're doing it. Like, and they're not even like homemade Jemimas. Like, I'm gonna get.
Okay, I didn't have time to make.
No,
not
saying that. I'm gonna like die of like probably some type of illness.
No.
You know, this.
You can't die from cookies.
I mean, I'm pretty.
It hasn't been proven.
I'm pretty sure heart disease would or arteries being clogged.
There's no connection to cookies.
I don't know about that.
Unless one of you know otherwise.
They do warm your heart, though. But, so I have to say that is one of the most important things is making sure that you make a checklist.
Absolutely.
How are you with backup wires and everything like that? Like, because I know some people, they literally just bring what they need. Two power cables, 2 extension cords.
That's risky. That's risky business. I have backup XLRs, backup IEC, the power cables. The only thing I don't really have a backup of is my laptop charger, which, it could.
Yeah. So what I did with that was I actually built one into the mixer, and then I have a backup one with me in my regular bag.
That's smart.
So one thing I really highly recommend, I think you saw this on my latest mixer case, is, you get a little handy with stuff. I actually built on the back. The power comes right out of my mixer case.
Yeah,
and so do the XLRs. They plug right into the back. So I'm not worried about plugging stuff inside the mixer. Try to make everything plug and play.
I do see a lot of people use that, like on the back of the case. They actually have the connections right there.
And there's plenty of people in the industry that'll make it for you.
Right.
Dude, there's some my voice is going to sound this whole show because of these damn cookies. I'm going to sound like my mouth.
What can I say?
You got to stop bringing these
Cookies
damn cookies. But no, in all seriousness though, like these little changes though, like perfect example was I had an event one time where my charger wasn't working. Thank God I had one in my bag. Yeah. How about tools? Do you bring any tools with you?
At the bottom of one of my wire crates, I have a flathead, a Phillips head, and I think an adjustable wrench.
All important.
And then I actually always have a tool bag in my car.
Smart.
Because I use it for work.
Yep.
But you never know when you're going to need it. Like in there, I have a drill.
They sell
all sorts
you
of
can
other
go on
things.
Amazon, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's. They sell these little kits for like screwdriver sets for like the eyeglasses. They've been so useful in little situations and
yeah, those little ones.
Yeah, and literally just all these little types of
them.
tools. I mean, they're just so worth having on you because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little crazy. I also keep with me like a slicer just in case I got to fix a wire. But I mean, I have you've seen all my wire bags. I mean, we don't go out unless we have enough of everything to make a whole new setup almost.
Right.
I always try to bring an extra speaker. That's
at
pivotal.
least one.
At least one extra speaker should always be in your car.
I personally don't have an extra one.
Yeah.
I do want to invest in another one just so I have
and
a
lot
backup.
of times when you're with me, you have your equipment as backup to our equipment.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
it's just so pivotal because like we were talking last, episode when we had Brett and Jake on from After Hours, you're talking about we may do hundreds of these events a year, but for these people, it's their day.
Right.
And we can't.
It's like a once in a lifetime thing for the most part.
Like we said on the first episode too. There are no sick days in this industry. You know what I mean? You work. You work through your sicknesses. Like it's not something you can do. So like just having all of these little tools, these little pieces with you, it's just so like I bring extra trussing mount brackets just in case, and all these little things. I just can't picture not doing that. It'd be too stressful. I'm stressing out about something that's not even happening right now. That's what I'm.
That's how it should be for you. Like, if the idea of not having something as a backup in case something breaks or I don't know, it's just not working right. If you get anxiety by that, good.
Yeah.
Because then that will push you to bring your backup stuff.
Yeah. Being prepared is just like.
And like you said, it's the person's big day. Like
it's an anti-anxiety without taking a pill. Just prepare. Don't watch that.
Yeah,
Don't watch one more
it's a
episode of
peace
The
of
Office.
mind.
Don't watch one more episode of The Office. Get off the couch and leave early for your gig.
I do love The Office.
And that's another perfect example. What's your typical time that you like to get? I know the time that I like to ask everyone to get to before gigs. What's usually the time you arrive at your venue?
I usually like to leave an hour and a half of setup time. And
For a
then,
basic setup. For 4 speakers, basic setup system.
Well, usually for that, I could do about an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, realistically, I can set it up in 45 minutes.
Right. But again, it comes down to you want to be...
you want to leave enough time. For the bigger setups, usually like 2 hours.
Okay.
But you also want to leave enough time to get dressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also, I mean, that's another thing. I don't know if everyone does, but you got to call these venues. Because, I mean, let's say you show up to a venue and they're like, you can't get in. You know what I mean? Sorry, we have another gig going on. Because, listen, venues got to make their money. Just like we have to make our money and we pull doubles, they have to pull doubles. I get it. So sometimes they might say, oh, I'm sorry, you only have an hour. And you got DJ, TVs, photo booth. Like, it's so important to charge accordingly as well, because now, let's say that you only have an hour, but that's ahead of time. You might have to bring 2 to 3 extra guys. Do you have it built into the price? Did you charge enough where you could pay 3 roadies to be there?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
You have to know ahead of time.
And, that goes right into pricing. I mean, when you're doing these bigger events, you have to be charging because they only see one side of the event. These, the people that are booking it, they just see the happy pictures on the walls, and they see, oh, my day's gonna be so great, but they don't really fully understand how they're gonna get there. When people are booking a 5 to 5.5 hour wedding, they're not realizing how many hours goes into preparing for it. Whether it's putting the music together, whether it's packing the trucks, getting the equipment where it needs to be. Let's say not everyone has a big warehouse all in one place. Maybe they have to go pick up the equipment. They have to reserve the equipment for the day. There's just so many little... They have to get there. They have to load in. They have to set up. They have to do the event. Then they have to break down. I don't see any 5.5 hour wedding at total not costing 15 to 20 hours worth of work. So when people say, I can't believe you're charging that much for a 5.5 hour, party, like, it's not 5.5 hours. You see 5.5 hours.
Yeah, people need to understand that. Is that...
Well, they never will, though.
It's not just the party. There's always more work that's going into it. And, at the same time, we try to be affordable.
Yeah. But we also sell our quality. And that's something that, I have a lot of friends in the industry. Brett and I talk about it all the time, is one of the most important aspects of meeting with the clients now more than ever, is selling the quality and education of what we do. You have to ask when places are giving you stuff for free, what are you getting with it? You're getting an uplighting package included. Well, is someone running that uplighting package, or do they just turn it on and let it go frivolously? What are you getting for your money?
Right.
Because personally, obviously, I may have a little bit of tendency to want to spend more because I'm knowledgeable in it, but I'd rather spend $500 and have it done right than $0 or to $200 and have it, done incorrectly. It's one day. And unfortunately, there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle in this industry that have really become, downgraded because of social media and because of the expansion of equipment. I mean, listen, I can't say I didn't, grow up with records, spinning them and everything. We had CDs, but I was kids. I was a kid when I was at the block parties and they were still DJing with CDs.
Right.
I always tell people, because you always got, drunk Uncle Tim that comes up to the DJ booth and be like, I used to DJ. And, I'm always like, oh, that's cool. He's like, you kids have it so easy now. All the music's on a hard drive. And I was like, yeah, that part's true. But you guys didn't have all this other crap we got to set up. You know what I mean? There were no photo booths. There were no other things. The investment is ridiculous. The music aspect has really shrunk. I mean, you're talking about a little hard drive that's a 3x3 can hold hundreds of thousands of songs. It's amazing.
I mean, I find that incredible. It makes it so much easier for us.
We don't really understand, I don't think, how far we've come. I mean, I'm 25. You're roughly the same age. 20 years ago, I would say 90% of the things we're doing didn't exist. None of it did. I mean, you really didn't see the DJ scene really, start to really broaden until like the late 80s. And at that point, they had nothing. Everything was built like themselves. I mean, a totally different world. And a lot of the, the bigger guys in the industry, they are 30, 35 years in the business because that's when they started. And the ones that are still around are the ones that have adapted, because that's the biggest thing. You got to change with the times. And now, every couple days, there's a new thing out, some new type of booth. We had the mirror booth come out not too long ago. It's just like there's always these new things that are happening.
I saw that right when they released it at the DJ Expo. Yeah. It was like the first time anyone was ever really seeing it. Yeah. And I was like, this is so cool. These are going to sell like hotcakes. Yeah, and you know what they did for a while? I feel like they slowed down a little bit, but everyone has it. You know what I mean? And I mean that was something I didn't personally buy, but I can name 10 people at the top of my head that have it. If I get a call, I got it covered. But it's so amazing, and it's so expensive now, how quickly, because these aren't, we're not talking about these little features that are, $100. I mean, some of these, additions to our fleet could be $5,000 to $15,000. I mean, to get the right ones, Same thing, the sparklers just came out in the past couple years. That's a new thing. And there's like 10 knockoffs of it. And now, because, some people may not be using them correctly, some venues don't even allow them. So it's just, like, keeping up is... Well, something else that I've seen, the trusses? Mm-hmm. They have one where it's just the 4 poles.
Oh, yeah, it breaks down, right?
And then there's the glass around it. Uh-huh. So you put the sparklers in there.
Yeah,
it's protected. There's no mess.
And what is that? That's an evolution. That's fixing a problem. You know what I mean? And that's smart. Smart as hell. You got to do that type of stuff because unfortunately things are going to keep changing and you have to be different. And that's a great way to be different. So it's just, and these all tie into the same thing. It's equipment, it's preparedness, and it's really evolution because this technological world we live in now, it's just so crazy how every day, something new music, new type of lights. These are more powerful than these. It's just, the curved TVs came out, bigger TVs. I mean, now they're making like 100-inch LED TVs.
It's insane.
I mean, I'm up to 65s, but I know plenty of reputable companies that are using 75s and 80s. And I mean, it's a headache just thinking about all this
stuff. And a part of what you're saying, a part of being prepared for a gig is having the right up-to-date equipment.
Yep.
Because when people are paying top dollar for your setup and your services, they want the best of the best. And if you're offering the best of the best, you should be able to...
Well, you got to back it up. You got to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be selling, state-of-the-art system and you're using a $300 buy one, get one,
right.
from, one of the stores. And if you go in to one, it's really amazing because, being in the tri-state area, how popular the DJ industry is, we have stores and we have people who actually know what they're talking about. You go to iDJ Now in Babylon or in Queens, and you speak to one of their they're not guys that they just hire off the street that don't know anything.
They're all people who actually have DJ experience.
They're knowledgeable.
And they know basically everything from lighting to sound.
To
talk to someone like that and even just asking them for advice.
And it's free. They don't, they're so, easygoing. I mean, when I first started, that was one of the first places I went. And I met Juan. And I mean, he's like a lifelong friend now. I mean, he's really, there's been so many times where I had a question like, should I get this or should I get this? And it's not always pushing me in the more expensive route. It's what's best for me and what's best for the company. And it's just, that's invaluable. And there's just not many other places where you can get that because, unfortunately, nothing against them, you can't get that from Best Buy. And more importantly, you can't get that online.
Yeah.
You can get a chat going or something like that. And there are some great companies online that you can buy some from. But there's also a lot of cheap websites, that just, throw stuff out there and they don't really know as much. And if they don't know as much, they're also harder to get in touch with.
Right. I mean,
I know. For instance, you just had your own similar situation, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What happened?
I bought a Pioneer DDJ SX3 off Amazon, and right off the bat, I just had all sorts of issues.
Yeah.
What was it? The drivers weren't working right, and I just had such a hard time setting it up. And then I finally had it up and running, like so happy. And then next thing you know, the play button on the left deck didn't work. It still doesn't work. And I've reached out to the customer support. I'm not saying anything bad about the Pioneer.
Right. No. They fixed their bugs.
Brand, but
yeah.
There's just not much
because there were bugs with that
do.
SX3. There were bugs, but they fixed it. Yeah, there
tons.
were. But
and
it's like
I
anything
went
else.
out on a limb to get it.
Right.
Other than that issue, it's a fantastic controller.
But what did we learn from that experience?
Buying local is a lot smarter.
When you're going to buy something and you're going to make, an expensive purchase, because it wasn't cheap for that SX3.
No. That's why I like that we have these local stores like IDJ now.
Exactly. You buy local, you get that local
because then you
customer
can
service.
always go back to the store and say you had an issue, and they're more compassionate rather than if you just say something on a support forum.
Right, pain in the ass. You gotta go on Amazon or wherever you bought it, and you have to fill out forms, and you got to ship it back.
You have to ship it back.
And you're talking money into your pocket.
That's most of the
now.
reason why I didn't send it back. Basically out of laziness, and I'm kind of like dealing with it.
Yeah.
Like,
but you have.
I use the mouse pad and hit the play button on the laptop.
It's
itself.
not as easy though.
It's not. No, it's
a pain in the ass.
It's an inconvenience that
could have been
avoided if I bought it in person. And
all things, for local shopping, for the DJ world and everything like that. You're gonna find it all here on the CuePoints podcast. Where are they gonna find us online?
CuePointsPodcast.com.
Ooh, yeah, that
our
sounds
website.
Good.
Facebook and Instagram at CuePoints Podcast. YouTube, Anthony Garcia DJ Vlogs. That's where we post the video version. And yeah,
they're going to find us every week. We are here on Wednesdays. I am amped. We will be back with another fun segment of the CuePoints podcast right after this. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Will from the CuePoints Mobile DJ Podcast, and we would love to get your opinion and your take on the DJ world in today's day and age and how much it's changed and everything going on and having to do with the mobile DJ universe. Give us an email at cuepointspodcast@gmail.com and let's get you involved in the conversation. Again, that's cuepointspodcast@gmail.com. We'll speak to you soon. If you're enjoying the CuePoints Mobile DJ Podcast, then you gotta give us a follow. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at CuePoints Podcast for giveaways, product reviews, and so much more. That's CuePoints Podcast on all social media platforms. Check us out.
Welcome back to the CuePoints Mobile DJ Podcast. This is episode 3, and we're talking about preparing for a gig.
Yes, the most important part, because without preparing, you ain't getting to your gig. And if you ain't getting to your gig, you ain't getting paid. And if you are getting paid and you're doing a crappy job because you didn't get prepared, you're going to get a bad review. What leads to a bad review? Less money. It's like a big circle, man. Circle of life, circle of DJing.
Big circle.
It's a circle. It's a circle. So
it's a circle.
Yeah. So we left off. We were talking about obviously shopping local, shopping educated. Don't just go into a store. And even though these people that you go to the stores and there's a bunch of stores that you could go to, even though they know what they're talking about, you should go in knowing what you're talking about.
Definitely.
You should absolutely go in.
You should already know what you're going for when you go there.
Right, and I mean I'm not saying you can't ask questions,
around,
but I'm saying what I'm saying though is like, if you're between the MC7000, the SX3, the new Rain controllers, like you should know the differences. You can ask them, what their recommendation is from what they've sold, but you should have an idea of what you're talking about, or else it doesn't really make sense. So I'm huge with education of the client, education of yourself. Everything is about education. So
absolutely.
So how else do you get prepared for an event?
I try to have as much as I can in my gear bag, which I use a backpack. I have it here in studio, but I don't want to show it for the people who are listening. So I'll just let you know what's in there. It's basically a backpack. In the back compartment, I have my laptop and like a little like a book.
Okay.
That has a notepad in it.
Oh, okay, smart. So you could write down any
some
notes.
Business cards.
Good.
I bring that to the client meetings.
Okay.
So
smart.
I could jot down things, and there's a calculator in there. So when we're
Make
doing
that money.
Exactly, I highly recommend having one of those.
Okay.
And then in the next compartment, I have my headphones, my charger, my hard drive, and an extra RCA to headphone wire. I highly recommend you have that because
That's a huge wire.
That's
huge. I have that one, and I also keep the XLR
Yeah.
to eighth. That's also huge.
I don't have one of those. I need it.
Yeah, you know, you should. I have like 10 of them.
That's usually your backup.
Yeah.
Your sound backup, because you're running your laptop through the DJ controller, right? Now, what happens if your laptop goes down?
Right. God forbid. Overheats. You're doing an outdoor event. You know, you don't have the right, conditions.
You can always use your phone, or if you have a backup iPod, you just plug it right in.
Make sure with your phone, however, if you have the new iPhone, you got to make sure you have the little toggle. You got to make sure you have that little piece.
Exactly. I actually have that in my DJ backpack as well.
So is that the full backpack? That's the DJ Xtoro backpack.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, DJ Will has a bag too.
Oh,
I'm going to show my bag.
He has his with him.
So no, so this isn't my DJ bag. This is my emergency bag.
Okay.
So what I keep, I'm opening it. I'm going to talk about it.
Open it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, you hear that zipper?
I heard it.
All right. So we got, first off, WD-40.
Wow.
Okay. You never know what you got to grease, man. If the people want to get lubricated at the party, I got to make sure the equipment's lubricated as well.
There you go.
Okay. If I start to smell, we got deodorant. All right. Gum. Always got to smell good, man.
I usually have either gum or Mentos with me. You need fresh breath.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
You need it.
You got some downtime? A couple of dice.
Oh, there you go.
I also own a casino company, so if the craps people forget, I got it for that. Let's see. These are huge. Connectors. So this is for the Mac or any mini display port. I have HDMI and VGA. Because you never know, someone's going to do a montage and like, oh, I brought my own computer, and then they
don't tell you
they
ahead
don't
of
tell
time.
you, even though I ask, and then they
still
don't
make it happen.
Yeah. Exactly. Zip ties, because if I end up wanting to tie someone up, or I need to fix a mount, or I need to hide a wire, huge.
Yeah, those are good for the trusses.
Exactly.
To hide the wires.
White electrical tape. Another great way to hide wires and just fix things on the fly. Extra headphone wire, just in case I need it for my headphones.
Yeah, actually, that happened to me once.
Yeah?
My headphones, the wire went bad.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
I thought the headphones broke, but then I just used a different wire and they were good. So that's a good backup to have.
All types of batteries. I have
batteries,
9 volts, AA, AAA.
Huge.
You're doing good. Just when I have too many guys on the staff that are driving me crazy, I have Tylenol and Advil. You never know. Those days that...
Those guys that give you a headache.
Guys that give you a headache. In case the gum didn't work, I have a little bit of Crest mouthwash.
Dude, you are just...
Extra IRC uplight controller.
You're killing it.
Oh, dude,
You have everything.
I'm not messing around, man. I have a USB, SD card, all different types of SD cards, micro, those big CF ones, everything. Got to take this out when I go on the airplane. I got scissors. Let's see. Permanent marker, if I got to mark anything down. I highly recommend this one. Tied to go.
I haven't seen that in a while, but
if you
it's
get a little
so
greasy
useful.
at the cocktail hour and you got to fix your shirt, tied to go.
So useful.
Even on some of the, let's say you have like a Dragon board wooden front board, you can actually fix if someone scratches it with tied to go.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
All right, you got a mini thing of hairspray. Clearly, you could tell I clean out Bed Bath & Beyond in the travel section.
No, that's great.
By the way, shout out. We got this nice bag from ProX. One of the truss covers came in it. So almost done here. Business cards. Lint roller. Never want to be linty.
Lint rollers, I highly recommend.
A little hair gel. Extra USB cables for iPods and iPhones. A little extra 1/4-inch adapter.
Yes, those are
Pens.
are big too.
XLR adapters for male and female. I wear glasses and contacts. I got a contacts case. And a comb. And finally, last but not least, an HDMI to HDMI extender. Bam.
Bang.
I don't mess around, boy. I don't mess. You can't, man.
Your bag is serious.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes where, if you're at Crest Hollow, down the block is a CVS. Down the block is a 7-Eleven. But sometimes
but if
you're
you're
in these
in the middle of a
remote
party.
areas and it's 20 minutes away, and you don't have time to go, this is a time
It's
where
always
you
nice to
need
have that
you
backup.
need to be prepared. And I don't take that. And every one of these has been added to the bag for some reason that something's gone wrong. The hygiene stuff is normal. You should always have that. But it's just, even if you have one, when you're on wherever you get your wires from, if you get them from Amazon, if you get them from a store, if you have one in your shopping cart, just pick up a second one. I promise you, it's worth it. Even if you don't bring it on the gig. Every wire that I have an extra one an extra one that hangs up in the warehouse.
You should.
You never know, man.
You never know.
And is it really worth spending $3.99, or let's say even $50 on having a couple extra things, rather than destroying a gig?
Yeah,
what
and
happens
like we
if
said in the first part, these events are huge for people.
You can't even close this bag, by the way. Can't even close it.
You had it right the first time.
I know. I had to.
You had to reorganize it.
Oof. Oh, got it. Okay.
So you have to really be on your A game.
Yeah,
and
you can't take a chance.
Majority of being on your A game is being prepared.
What happens when an HDMI goes bad? Because they're HDMIs, they go bad.
Yeah,
and
these cables go bad. It happens.
And you're all of a sudden your TV is going green, and your party's about to start. You gonna run to Best Buy? No,
that happened at a showcase.
We did a showcase about 3 weeks ago, and everything's all set. Everything was tested the day before. Everything's going great. We turn on the TVs, and all of a sudden, one of the screens is going green. Thank goodness we had all extra equipment. We had extra computers to test. We had extra adapters to test, and we had HDMIs, and we figured out the problem, and we had a great time. And it was stressful in the moment, but it could have been much more stressful.
Exactly.
So it's just a no-brainer. Just people sometimes don't want to put in the time. But if you're going to be in this industry and you're going to last in this industry, because, you're talking about such a different time. It used to be where, people would check the Better Business Bureau, or they would send you, thank you cards, and that was pretty much it. Now, you get one person that, you mess up one bride's
one bad
wedding,
review, and it's going to hurt.
and she makes it her job to bring like a vendetta against you, and she just trashes you. What are you going to do? You going to sue her to make yourself look worse?
Yeah.
She's going to trash you on Wedding Wire. She's going to trash you on Facebook, on The Knot. It's just, is it worth it? You're always going to have clients that, you can never make happy. It's always going to happen once in a while. But by being prepared, I can attest to that, you're removing 95% of that happening.
Absolutely.
And reputation, there's a million DJs. You hear me, DJs? There's a million of us. There's not just you. There's not just Anthony. There's not just me. There's so many people that run DJ companies. But guess what? The great thing, we can all coexist.
Yeah.
There are more people on this island of Long Island, New York, than some countries. And so many people are getting married. The people that aren't leaving New York, the smart ones, they're leaving. But the rest that are staying here, like me and you, they're getting married. And whenever we do these showcases, I have no problem with other people being there. It's competition, but it is, but it isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need competition, or else what bar are you at? You know what I mean? I love when I see something that another company's doing, and it's amazing. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to do that. I need to learn from that. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. There's so many people that know more than us, but they don't know everything.
Right, and there's always more to learn.
Right, and the
You
best,
never know everything.
and you can learn so much more and help you again get prepared. And it's not even prepared before a gig. If you learn about a brand new type of setup you want to do or something you want to add on, you can get prepared before an appointment, and you could maybe make your sales 25% more, maybe less, but it's at least an option. And that's the biggest thing. Is it's not just being prepared before the gig. It's being prepared before everything.
Absolutely.
Just in life you should be prepared. But you can't. And in any business you can't be successful if you're not prepared for that day's work.
That brings us into the next point: having an event protocol.
Yes.
Or I guess you could call it a specification sheet or
Yeah.
whatever
A
your
music sheet. I mean, we
whatever
typically,
your company would
Yeah.
like to call it. It's
enjoyable entertainment. We call everything a protocol form.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm sure many DJs out there, and if you don't have one, this is really a time you should be taking notes. Is when you're meeting with your clients and they sign the line, which is dotted. You should be giving them forms to fill out. You shouldn't be texting them, "Hey, what song do you want for your father-daughter dance?" All right, so we have forms for every type of event: Sweet 16,
And especially for
mitzvahs, weddings, and weddings are obviously the longest one.
yeah. You need that that information that's so important.
Oh my God, it's so important.
If
Who's
you-
walking out with
if
who
you
to what
get
song?
the wrong song or you just assume.
Yep. You
One,
don't ever
like,
assume. Don't ever assume.
choose
Don't
it
ever
yourself.
assume. Don't ever assume. Don't ever assume. Like, don't ever assume.
You look like Donkey Kong.
Well, you'll see if you watch the video on YouTube. Don't ever assume anything because people can change their minds. And let's say they did change their minds. Did they send you an email? Did they write it down? Were they just talking about it? Everything needs to be in writing. If they want to change, they need to update the sheet.
And confirmed.
And confirm. So like the week before the party, I will make sure they either come in the office or we do it via Skype or they can
Even
call
just on the
or they
phone.
can call.
You have to-
It's fine, and I want to go
you have
through
to go
every
through.
name. I
Yeah.
want to go through every name, make sure I'm saying them correctly or the MC is saying them correctly because there's some names Leah and Leia can be spelled the same way. Lila and Layla can be spelled the same way. I don't know why I'm picking these L names, but I'm just saying. They can be said the same way, but spelled differently. So you just need to be careful. Do they want the whole song for their first dance? Do they not want the whole song for their first dance? Are they doing bouquet? Are they not doing a bouquet? Do they want to give away the centerpieces? These are all things that you will find on the protocol sheets. And then there's another protocol sheet for music requests, separate from the ceremonial music we need.
That's big too.
We want to, and I mean this has happened more than once.
Along with the do not playlist.
Right. So on our sheet we have absolutely must plays, would like to hear, and then please do not play. And I can't tell
I
you
like
how
that
many
format.
and I can't tell you how many times I've had someone come up and be like, "Oh, I wish you didn't play that song." And I'll be like, or like, I wish you didn't do that. And I'll be like, "Well, was it on the form?" Or I wish you did play this. I wish it was on a form. And you can come up and request stuff from us. I mean, for the most part, and that's another big thing especially with weddings. I always ask the bride and groom, "Do you want us to take requests from your guests?" Because some people don't. Of course, you have to be smart with, you have to also play a part as well. If someone comes up to you at a nice wedding, where we're playing, Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley, and they come up asking for, Slipknot or Tenacious D,
Right.
We're probably not going to do that.
In my experience, most of the clients don't want you to take requests.
Most don't. I would agree with you.
They'll legit say, yeah.
Or if they do, they have to run it by me. Which
Yeah,
who
yeah,
wants?
that happens too.
You're meeting Grandma Pearl over here, and she's thanking you for getting married, and all of a sudden, someone's coming up and be like, "Excuse me, can I play like a bachata?" Like nobody wants that.
No.
Leave it up to us. I always tell people, you don't, with the music, because I would say this question gets asked almost every, wedding appointment would be, how do we, work with the music? And I'll always say the same thing, as much or as little as you want, but we have to do the protocol. If you want to pick out every song, because I've had this, if you want to pick out every song of the night and send me an Excel sheet with the time codes,
Okay.
you just made an iPod.
Yeah.
Fine. If you want to, just kind of leave it up to us, that's fine. I'd still rather you give me a couple artists that you like so I can kind of attribute it a little bit to you. But, like, if you're like, what, just play top 40, we know, okay, Pitbull. Or, whatever is on the radio. But it's so important, though, because we did a wedding not too long ago, probably about a month and a half ago. And they said, just play top 40, that's more than fine. And we get to the wedding, and her family was Spanish. So they came up and they were asking for cumbia and bachata and merengue, and which is fine.
That happens very
we
often.
We know the music. Like,
Yeah.
I can play the music, Like, all of our DJs at Enjoyable Entertainment are very trained. They know what to do. However, though, they wanted really specific traditional, songs. So luckily, like, we were able to find them. But how much easier would it have been to just tell us, hey, by the way, my family, might want some of this traditional music. If you could just find a couple of these artists to make them happy. That's all I'm asking for, because it's going to make your night smoother rather than making controversy over music. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So the protocol forms are so important. making sure with lineups for grand entrances. And there's nothing more pivotal than that and being prepared.
And the music lists sort of brings us into another point that I want to touch upon. Your crates.
Yeah.
Or
that's all you, baby.
Or your folders in Serato, or I think Virtual DJ just uses folders, right?
They use folders, yeah, but you use crates in Serato and the
I
Tractor.
personally use Serato.
Yeah.
So the crates is like, I try to make the most use of those that I can.
Mm-hmm.
I get as organized as I possibly can. I start off with the event name and the date.
Okay.
And then I make a subfolder.
Right. That's what I do as well.
Say for a wedding,
Yeah.
I have the entrance.
Right.
New subfolder.
Right.
I have father-daughter dance, whatever.
Right. Cake cutting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have separate folders for everything.
Right.
So that as we're rolling through the event, I say, okay, here is the cake cutting.
Right.
Bam.
Bam. You're ready.
There's my song.
Don't have to worry about looking for it. And, the same goes for Sweet 16s. I mean, making sure you have your candles in order.
Oh, that's huge.
And I mean, this really pertains more to Sweet 16s and also mitzvahs with doing candles. It's not just about making sure that you have them in the right order, but that they have it in the right order.
Oh my gosh.
And you also
that's happened a couple times.
And you need to listen, because most of these Sweet 16 girls, they don't talk in front of people. They're not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're all nervous.
I've had it.
They skip a line.
So many times where they go from candle 5 to candle 7 on accident.
And
they don't do it on purpose. And
if
you
you're
need to
listening
listen.
and you hear the name,
right.
At least now you could look on.
Right. Instead of Cousin Gina, they're doing,
crate.
Aunt Desiree.
Right. And where it was supposed to be her aunt, uncle, but if you're on, like if she introduces her friends.
Yep.
Now you could say, okay, those friends have this song.
I'm not saying it's not going to frazzle you, because it will.
It will frazzle you. It will take you
100%.
At least a couple seconds to catch up.
However,
but at least you caught on to it and you were prepared.
Because if you play the wrong song, you're still wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If she skips and you play candle number 6's song, but she's talking about candle number 7, she messed up, but you're still wrong. You're not going to, what are you going to blame the Sweet 16 girl? You messed up? You're not going to do that. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Mm-hmm. So don't make that mistake, and just pay attention during candles. It's so important to pay attention during candles, because, again, you never know when they might accidentally skip or do, or something like that. It's just, and that's, again, I can attest to you, and, everything you do with enjoyable entertainment and leading arts is you're prepared. And you do the right thing.
I try my best.
And I've seen it firsthand where we're doing a Sweet 16 and she skipped, and you're like, all right, got it, cool. And then you'll just I'll let her know maybe when she's doing the candle, hey, make sure you go back. You skipped a candle.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, oh my God, thank you.
One thing that really ticks me, and it's not their fault, but if someone tries to talk to me during
people are rude.
Candle ceremony,
people are very rude, and they don't really understand. They'll come up and
while
just,
I'm DJing.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I can multitask for the most part.
Right.
But during the candlelight ceremony, I cannot mess that up.
And that's another important
need
part
to focus.
of the MC, like we talked about in the last show, is, the MC should really be the channel of that. So if someone's coming up to the booth to ask about music, they should really jump in and be like, oh, okay, what did you guys want?
That's usually what you do for me.
Right, I try to, because you're doing other things.
If you see somebody walking up, you'll actually
I'll go in front just to make sure.
You'll talk to them, and then
I don't want to. You're in the middle of the mix. I'll wait till you're out of that transition, and then be like, hey, by the way, they want the Diplo song, or whatever it is.
Right.
Because again, it's working together to be prepared, to do a good job. Based on your preparedness.
Have everything you need.
And then, you know what? The more that you do of this, the easier the night is, and the more that you'll enjoy this wonderful world of mobile DJing.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, I can't believe we're coming to a close of another show. 3rd show already. We're really starting to get into it now.
We're starting to bang them out now.
That's it, man.
Weekly.
So, again, where can they find us online?
CuePointsPodcast.com and Facebook and Instagram at CuePoints Podcast. On our website, we do have a contact form.
Okay.
If there's anything you'd like us to talk about or any ideas you may have, you could send them there, or you could also go on our Facebook, Instagram, DM us, leave a comment.
Yeah, we take submissions if you want to be on the show.
We check everything.
And if you
we
want,
read everything.
We'd love to have people, reputable in the industry, other than ourselves. We have a lot of great guests coming up throughout, the next couple months that are going to be on. We're hopefully going to have a lot of fun giveaways, maybe some, meetup events.
That's in the process.
Yeah, man.
That is currently in the process. So, guys.
And speaking of giveaways, we got to give a really quick shout out to iDJ Now. Make sure you head there in Babylon on May 1st. All right, head to their showroom. They're going to be giving away a QSC system.
2 QSC systems.
And that's worth what? Like probably $8,000 altogether?
Maybe a little more, yeah.
That's huge. Again, guys, CuePoints Podcast. You can find us here every Wednesday. We want to thank you guys so much, and we will see you
next time.
Next Wednesday.